Greetings to my friends at the Transdisciplinary Agora for future discussions, and to the other attendees of the Gen 4 IR Summit. My name is Gennady Stolyarov II, and I am the chairman of the United States Transhumanist Party and the Transhuman Club. It is an honor for me to speak to you today. I hope to illustrate to you today why transhumanism and transhumanist politics in particular have a global relevance, with a specific emphasis on relevance to Africa and Africans. I will start with a rather provocative observation. As one who lives in the so-called global north, I would like to share with you my perspective on the current situation in the global north, which is that we live in insane times here. We are faced with the risk of a global nuclear war and indeed human extinction. I have written that this very year, 2022, is the year of the Great Filter. Our civilization is passing through a uniquely perilous time that, if not navigated properly, could lead to the end of the human species, and if we do not observe many signs of intelligent life elsewhere in the universe, one explanation for this may be that other intelligent species fail to pass through the great filter in which we find ourselves. We are still dealing with the effects of an unprecedented global pandemic. COVID, unfortunately, has not gone away, and it continues to mutate, and it continues to pose severe challenges for many people in both the global north and the global south. We have seen a surge in crime and in violent social upheaval. The phenomenon of extreme political polarization and the division of society, particularly American society, into warring political factions has unfortunately been exacerbated by the pandemic. We have observed a mainstreaming of severe intolerance in society and culture, the phenomenon of so-called cancel culture, where a person's reputation and career and future income potential can be destroyed based on the actions of a social media mob. We have seen the co-opting of social movements, which often began with benevolent and understandable motivations, by people with ulterior motives, often motives of destroying their professional rivals, for instance. We have observed shortages of basic goods. We have witnessed price inflation that has been unprecedented in the global north for the past 40 years or so. At the same time, many residents of the global north are finding themselves in the midst of a housing affordability crisis where they are unable to access shelter of the kind and the size to which they have been accustomed for several generations. Natural disasters have increased in both frequency and severity, and in part this phenomenon is driven by destructive climate change. Politically, in the global north, we have seen a deterioration in personal freedom and in enlightened mechanisms of government. In the so-called Eastern countries, we have seen the entrenchment of authoritarian regimes. On the other hand, in the West, individual liberty is on the decline because of a phenomenon I have come to call social totalitarianism. It doesn't even require the enforcement of certain prohibitions by a government in order for phenomena like the cancel culture or the recent attack on the distinguished writer Salman Rushdie to ruin people's lives and careers if they think differently. And it gets worse. Since there are movements that are actively advocating the exacerbation of these tendencies through ideas like degrowth, or the active practice of discrimination against people based on where they were born or the color of their skin, as well as calling for the destruction of property and the normalization of that destruction. So these are troubling times. And when civilizations get seized by these bouts of insanity, this can lead them to undermine themselves to the point of collapse, as happened with the Roman Empire most famously, but other civilizations throughout history as well. Although the world is in a severe crisis today, transhumanism offers a way out and a way forward. I will briefly provide an overview of transhumanism for those of you who are not familiar with it. Transhumanism is both a philosophy and a movement, and essentially transhumanism holds that through technology, science, and reason, we can push back and overcome the obstacles that have plagued the human condition. Obstacles such as involuntary death, diseases, poverty, scarcity of basic needs, war, pollution, tribalism, cognitive biases, and mob behaviors, to name just a subset of the problems that humans have faced, but that do not need to define our humanity. They are not essential to what it means to be human. This idea is eloquently expressed in Article 1 of the Transhumanist Declaration, which states that humanity stands to be profoundly affected by science and technology in the future. We envision the possibility of broadening human potential by overcoming aging, cognitive shortcomings, involuntary suffering, and our confinement to planet Earth. In 2016, when I became the chairman of the US Transhumanist Party, we adopted our three core ideals, which translate the key principles of transhumanism into a political context. The Transhumanist Party supports significant life extension achieved through the progress of science and technology. That is our first and foremost core ideal. Our second core ideal is that the Transhumanist Party supports a cultural, societal, and political atmosphere informed and animated by reason, science, and secular values. And our third core ideal is that the Transhumanist Party supports efforts to use science, technology, and rational discourse to reduce and eliminate various existential risks to the human species. We are in a global malaise right now, and we need a new and reinvigorated system of meaning for a new cultural paradigm that will help us overcome this malaise. And transhumanism offers just that kind of system of meaning. It is a system that is responsive to real-world conditions and focused on their improvement. It is a system that is confident in the feasibility and desirability of material progress through technology and moral progress through rationality. Transhumanism counters the sense of aimlessness that predominates in contemporary societies by providing plenty of goals to achieve and problems to solve. And it does not rely on any sort of faith or belief in the supernatural. It is not dogmatic. It does not force people to conform to a certain belief system. Rather, it is responsive to objective evidence. It is capable of iterative improvement and justified revision according to the data of reality. Transhumanism emphasizes the value of each individual and that individual's continued existence. Transhumanism supports autonomy and self-determination, but based on what science and technology can actually accomplish. So transhumanists do not think that mere declarations of identity are going to suffice in actually improving a person's condition or the condition within a given society. Transhumanism is cosmopolitan, and it respects an extremely wide range of diversity, but without focusing on group identity politics, because transhumanism seeks to achieve common objectives that benefit all people, irrespective of circumstantial attributes. Transhumanism offers the opportunity for individuals to benefit from it directly in this world when the technologies to improve quality of life get developed and spread. So there's no need to wait for an afterlife or an imagined future collective utopia. This is a movement for our own direct benefit, and it could apply to anyone and everyone who is alive today. To reinforce the idea that transhumanism offers plenty of sources of meaning, consider the vast variety of areas of technological advancement that transhumanism advocates. These are ongoing pursuits for humans of varied skill sets. Areas such as biotechnology, genetic engineering, and life extension are prominent areas advocated by transhumanists, but so are nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, space colonization, seasteading, which is the construction of modular platforms on the oceans, vertical farming, economical alternative energy, automation of production that can lead to radical abundance, the development of autonomous and electric vehicles, as well as the development of flying cars, innovations in virtual reality and augmented reality, as well as in technologies of encryption or technologies of the blockchain, such as cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, and distributed autonomous organizations, or DAOs, which are becoming increasingly prominent, as well as innovative solutions like ectogenesis or artificial wombs. So you can see that there is an immense need for innovation in a variety of areas, as well as advocacy of such innovation to be deployed for the benefit of humankind. And in order to accomplish these ambitious goals, we need thinkers and doers from all over the world. In the US Transhumanist Party, we offer allied membership free of cost to anybody all over the world who is capable of expressing a rational political opinion. I will clarify that this membership is compatible with membership in any other political party in any country. We do not judge you for being a part of other political organizations. We do not involve ourselves in the internal political dynamics of other countries, so whether you support one party in your country or another is not relevant to us. What is relevant to us is to spread the ideas of transhumanism worldwide. And if you can help us to communicate these ideas, to apply them in your country, or to engage with us in meaningful discussions and deliberations about how these goals could be achieved. We invite you to go to transhumanist-party.org/membership and apply for free. It takes less than a minute. The benefits include voting on our U.S. Transhumanist Party platform and our candidate endorsements. We hold electronic votes using the ranked preference method from time to time. But an even more important benefit is access to a vibrant global community of leading thinkers in key areas of technological, philosophical, and policy innovation, including many of the speakers at this very conference. Our virtual Enlightenment salons are a benefit that the US Transhumanist Party offers to anybody and everybody in the world. We stream them weekly at 10 p.m. Central Africa time or South African Standard Time, that is 1 p.m. US Pacific Time. They are free to view and are modeled after the great Enlightenment salons of the 18th century. The purpose is to bring together leading thinkers in areas such as longevity, transhumanism, artificial intelligence, politics, philosophy, art, and culture, and in the course of these conversations to make connections among disciplines to facilitate breakthroughs in understanding and a more rational, advanced, and informed society. We have had some notable prior guests, including many of the speakers at this conference. For each of these distinguished individuals, you can find a video recording of our in-depth conversation with them, and some of them have been our guests for multiple virtual Enlightenment salons. We furthermore understand that not everybody takes an interest in politics or would be comfortable participating in a political organization. And therefore, in 2022, we established the Transhuman Club. The Transhuman Club is the non-political affiliate organization of the US Transhumanist Party. And in the future, our intention is for the Transhumanist Party to focus on policy and politics, whereas the Transhuman Club will focus on everything else. Culture, society, science, technology, education, as well as member-driven collaborations, of which there can be a vast proliferation. We have a great website that was created by one of our officers, Jason Geringer, and it already has numerous interactive features, including a variety of techno-positive, life-affirming, futuristic artworks such as paintings, animations, and even AI-generated images. We have some educational modules on transhumanism, rational thinking, the US government structure, as well as the documents of the US Transhumanist Party, and we plan to add many more educational modules. There's a member forum where one can post after registering as a member for free. We have a video gallery where you can watch all of our virtual Enlightenment salons and some other transhumanist videos as well. And there is a blog where we envision posting updates from leading transhumanist thinkers and organizations. So there are many ways to get involved within the transhumanist movement. I would like to take this opportunity to particularly encourage African transhumanist participation and African transhumanist perspectives to be shared. There are many reasons for this. I will just emphasize a few. Africa is where the transhumanist vision can have the most immediate impact if adapted by Africans to their unique circumstances. There can be massive improvements to length and quality of life even through the very first applications of transhumanist technologies and concepts at a grassroots level. And this is where we encourage Africans to apply the ideas of transhumanism and take their destinies into their own hands. Africans know better than anyone else where their societies could be improved and where technologies and the ideas of transhumanism can be deployed to achieve the greatest returns in the shortest amount of time. These days, unfortunately, the global north is stuck in this antagonistic rut, both internally in domestic politics and more broadly in international geopolitics. Escalating and highly irrational hostilities threaten to tear our societies apart and lead to societal disintegration, as well as consequences as adverse as nuclear war and human extinction, unless this temporary bout of collective insanity within the global north is balanced by other perspectives. And this is where African voices, by joining the conversation, can help to guide humanity onto the path of peaceful development for the uplifting of all, so that we can all survive to build this next era of our civilization. And furthermore, Africa has the world's youngest population, and this population has been remarkably innovative even when under severe material constraints. I am often astonished to see the kinds of devices that Africans are able to create using just whatever parts are accessible to them. And with the systematic deployment of transhumanist ideas, many such constraints can be lifted. enabling an astonishing surge in innovation, infrastructure building, and prosperity that would radiate outward to improve living standards in Africa, but also throughout the remainder of the world. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today and would like to emphasize that the flourishing of Africa will be integral to the success of transhumanism in the 21st century. I hope that many of you will sign up for free membership in the Transhumanist Party and keep in contact with us so that we can, together, ensure the arrival of the next great era of our global civilization.